Back here with Bart Scott, we're talking Dallas Cowboys, who were in town to face the Giants last night, looking for their 6th straight win over Big Blue. Dak Prescott had a big hand in getting that done. Not early on, though. He did throw a pick on his first pass. He did rebound, though, by tossing 3 touchdowns. Zeke ran for a season-high 139 yards. And the defense sacked Daniel Jones 5 times last night. Cowboys win. They sit atop the division at 5-3. Here's Dak Prescott after the win.
We're a confident team. We're a team that, even when we're fighting adversity, even when we're getting in our own way and struggling a little bit, we have confidence, we have faith in what we're going to do. We know what we're able to do, and tonight was another example of that.
It's important just to win these division games. That's what's really important. I mean, we still have a lot of football left. A lot can happen from here to the end of the season, but we are in a good spot. But we can't get content. We gotta keep our foot on the pedal and keep pushing.
Bart, do you feel more or less confident in this Cowboys team after the win last night?
I'm about the same. Right, I went in thinking that they were a solid football team, built the way that you need to win in the playoffs. I think the way that they're constructed, they can go on the road and present problems to anybody because they can run the football, limit the possessions. They're stout in the inside, so they don't have to keep guys in for a long time to chip out. I think bringing Witten back allows them to have that extra security blanket, but he's also great for that inner line of scrimmage when you go against elite pass rushers. But the question is, and always will be, Dak Prescott, because I look at Dak Prescott and I say, is he an elevator? Meaning, does he elevate everybody else on the field? I don't think he is. I think he's a stabilizer. I think he's stable. He's consistent. He's something you can count on, like a Camry. It's beautiful. It's reliable, right? But
ain't nothing wrong with a Camry.
Right, there's nothing wrong with a Camry, right? He reminds me a lot, and I was going back and I was thinking, like, who does he remind me of? He reminds me of Rich Gannon. And Rich Gannon, when he played with the Raiders, he was somebody that's a leader. He's accountable, and I believe the guys believe in him. But they're going to need Dak during the playoffs if they're going to make that run and end up where they want to go to be special. And I don't know if he can be special when he comes to, being able to match maybe a Aaron Rodgers or being able to match a Drew Brees in those pivotal moments that come down to one possession. Either you take your team to the Super Bowl or you make a mistake, you come up short. Being able to establish the run and build the offense through Zeke allows everybody else to become a multiplier. Zeke's a multiplier. So I'm still kind of in the middle, but I think they can elevate if he continues to play at a high level. And playoffs are all about matchups. You know that, Chris.
No, I'm right there with you. I don't think Dak Prescott is an elevator at this point in his career either, but I mean, Joe Flacco wasn't an elevator, but he had a stretch of games in that 2012 postseason where he was lights out. I think it was 11 touchdowns, no picks. Nick Foles, I don't think he's an elevator, but he had a stretch, three regular season games and three playoff games, and they ended up holding up the Super Bowl. I don't think this Cowboys team needs Dak to be an elevator.
Right.
They just don't need him to be the reason why they lose games, especially critical games late in the regular season and in the playoffs. The roster that Will McClay and Stephen Jones have put together, this is good enough to win a championship. They check almost every single box when it comes to the things that you need to win a Super Bowl. Can they rush the passer? Check. Offensive line? Check. Run game? Check. The only question is whether or not the quarterback can make the requisite plays when he has to.
So he doesn't have to be amazing or great. He just has to be good enough with that team around him.
He just has to be good enough in that stretch of games once we start getting to the postseason. And that's why I talk about the importance of momentum in sports. And if you're in the NFL, you want to be playing your best football in December on into January. That remains to be seen. But Dak Prescott, to this point in the season, he's been Jekyll and Hyde. Like, you'll have stretches of games where he plays really well, the first 3 games of the regular season, and then you'll see him throw an interception like he did last night on the first play from scrimmage. Inexplicably. So that's the part about it that makes you question whether or not this Cowboys team can compete with the other good teams in the NFC, the Seahawks, the Saints, the Packers. Just because you get plays like that from Dak, you don't see them from Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Russell Wilson.
See, but the thing is, you look at the games in which he struggled, and you say, when the games he was successful in, is because Zeke was able to establish the run game. You know, when they lost to the Jets, it's because they put it on his shoulders. And that's what elite teams are going to do. They're going to make you punch left-handed. And Dak's going to have to come out and pull a rabbit out of his hat and be able to throw the ball 30, 35 times, you know, when they load the box. Can he do that? That remains to be seen. And really, I'm really concerned about Amari Cooper and his health. You know, every game I see him limping and limping. They may need to give him some load management and allow him to get healthy, because they can't go deep if he can't win the one-on-one matchups and take away the #1, you know, coverage guy for the opposing opponent.
You don't want to kill Dak, because Dak he didn't play terribly yesterday. He played fine. He made a terrible mistake early and then rallied. Didn't make any major mistakes from that point forward, and made a couple really good throws, most notably the pass to Amari Cooper. Now, you can say most NFL quarterbacks make this throw.
Great check right there. That's the dagger.
But there were two things he did. One is the throw that not only leads Amari exactly where he needs to go, but on the previous touchdown, he audibled out of it.
Right.
You heard him audible. I think he's yelling Bronco, whatever it was. Yeah. Audibles out of it. And we saw him do a similar thing. I want to say it was against Philly, but when they were in the red zone, where he audibles out of it and he gets him. It wasn't a touchdown, ended up going down at the 1-yard line. But he is evolving. He is getting better, and I will give him credit for that. But when we are talking about can they achieve their goal, which is make the conference championship game, for the first time, they showed the graphic yesterday, for the first time since the mid-90s, every team in the NFC, this is since the year 2000, every team has made the conference championship game, aside from Washington, Detroit, and Dallas. Like, they don't want to be on that list, obviously, right? So how do they do that? He has to have, not maybe the Joe Flacco run, but play the best version of himself. And I don't know that you can have faith he's going to be able to do that 2 or 3 straight games, because, like you said, he's been hot and cold. And when we look at the other best teams in football, if you flip-flopped their quarterbacks, if you flip-flop Seattle and Dallas's quarterback, Seattle is way worse, and Dallas becomes the best team in the league. Same with New Orleans. They get worse. Dallas becomes the best team in the league. Green Bay, they become worse. Dallas becomes the best team in the league. The only team in the NFC, if you switch their quarterbacks, you're like, you know what, maybe they'll be better of the relevant teams in the NFC is San Francisco. And what is the question with San Francisco? How good's their quarterback? How good's their passing game? So,
and I would probably take the weapons that the Dallas Cowboys have over what the San Francisco 49ers
Absolutely.
have.
Dallas certainly has better running back and better wide receivers. San Francisco has the tight end. But this is, to me, Jimmy G and Dak are in a similar spot, where I don't think they're going to kill you. It's not a Blake Bortles situation where you have to be great and everything else and hope he doesn't kill you. But can you expect him to elevate you, to use your words? I haven't seen that.
What is the best version of Dak Prescott? What's the best we've seen Dak Prescott play, or who would you liken him to when he's the best he could be?
Well, I think when he embraces his athleticism and puts pressure on the opposing defense by being that mobile quarterback, he wants to stay in the pocket sometimes. But if he was more mobile and they put more RPOs in and he was able to use his athleticism early in games, I think it'll open up the running game even more, because he can control that backside defensive end from crashing down, and you have to adjust you have to adjust it. See, the thing about Dak, you know where he's going to be, so you adjust your coverages to that. If they really expand their offense a little bit and add a little bit more of those elements, I think it'll open the run lanes up, and it allows him to be able to take more shots downfield with the play action.
And if so many of your passes are going to be these short, easy throws, have more of them be to Zeke. Last year, Zeke's receiving yardage jumped. It looked like that part of his game was evolving. Now it's back down to 3 catches a game, around 20 yards. Like, if you're going to have a lot of horizontal passes, have those be to your best playmaker, Ezekiel Elliott, who we know how good he can be in space.
All right, Bart, thanks so much for hanging out today. Take a break coming up. Who's the most overrated team in the NBA?